Greetings and welcome to the Nanotech Security webinar. It is now my pleasure to introduce your host, Troy Bullock. Thank you, sir. You may begin.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone on the West Coast, and good afternoon to all of you on the East Coast. Thank you for taking the time to attend Nanotech's corporate update presentation at the SNN virtual conference. For those of you I have not had the opportunity to meet, I'm Troy Bullock, Nanotech's President and Chief Executive Officer. I would like to remind everyone that certain statements may be forward-looking in nature, and I would ask that you please refer to our forward-looking statement disclaimer and our continuous disclosure materials that can be found on SEDAR.com. With that out of the way, let us get into the presentation. Nanotech has a market capitalization of about $20 million Canadian, and we have a clean capital structure with $9.2 million in cash and essentially no debt. We have 69.2 million shares outstanding and have no immediate need to raise capital to support our growth. It is also important to know that we have significant assets on our balance sheet beyond our cash, and today the stock is trading at about 0.8 times price to tangible book value. The last point that I'd like to make on this slide is that management and insiders are aligned with shareholders and own about 22% of the company. I've been adding to my position by buying shares in the open market over the last several quarters. In the simplest terms, Nanotech provides products that authenticate banknote, government documents, and commercial products. You can see samples of these products on this slide. You'll note that they're brilliant colors that change as the products move. What you may find interesting is that these products are made from collections of holes. Each one is less than 1/billionth of a meter in diameter. There are no inks or dyes used to create these images, just nanostructures. We can arrange these nanostructures by providing any color, 3D depth, movement, and even short video. Best of all, these features are near impossible to copy, which is why governments and brands have come to us to develop authentication solutions. Our patented KolourOptik technology is exclusive to the government and banknote industry, and it combines nanostructures and microstructures to create modern, always-on, overt security features with unique and customizable visual effects. These can be seen in our newly released color depth banknote sample in the left-hand side of the slide. Our patented live optic technology delivers multicolor, 3D depth, movement, and image switches for secure brand protection labels that are nearly impossible to replicate. Before I dive further into the presentation, considering our products are visual, I would like to play a short video clip so that you can see the striking effects for yourself. Now that you've seen our product portfolio in action, I'd like to discuss our key markets, starting with the government and banknote market. This slide gives you a sense of the total market size, which is significant and growing. Central banks print more than 165 billion banknotes annually and spend approximately $1.5 billion per year on security features like ours. Usually, security features are refreshed every 5 to 7 years, translating into recurring revenue streams for companies providing banknote security features. The average banknote has more than 10 distinct security features on it. One more thing I'd like to point out before moving on is that we're always asked if you have a security feature on this specific banknote or that specific banknote. As you can imagine, central banks are sensitive about the security features they're evaluating, so we are legally obligated to keep our customers confidential until the banknote is released. What I can say is that Nanotech has delivered over 7 billion security features for more than 30 banknote denominations and multiple secure ID applications in over 10 countries. The other core market we are focused on is brand protection. We have announced that we were entering this market about a year ago, as we believe our technology can also help our customers solve issues around counterfeiting and commercial products. Protecting consumer goods with authentication products is a $3 billion a year annual market. As you can imagine, there are hundreds of industries that could go after, but based on our direct sales team, channel partners, and manufacturing partners, we've identified 6 key market segments. Deal sizes vary by dollars because each customer has different requirements in terms of security features and annual volume. To date, we have a very strong list of reference plans. In the government and banknote market, in addition to securing a $30 million contract with one of the world's largest and most prominent central banks, we have also partnered with Delarue and Canadian Banknote to deliver security features for banknotes and government ID. To date, we have delivered over 7 billion security features to this market. In the newly entered brand protection market, we have already gained some nice reference customers. These have included UEFA to safeguard tickets for the Euro Cup tournament, which is the world's Baseball and Softball Confederation, as they rolled out their new licensing program to their 65 million athletes and 150 million fans. I would also remind everyone that both the banknote and brand protection markets, the wins tend to be recurring in nature. Brand protection programs typically run from 3 to 5 years, and banknotes often remain in circulation for 5 to 7 years. In fact, we've been producing Lumichrome optical thin film for one central bank for 19 consecutive years. In the near term, Nanotech will continue to drive most of its revenue from development contracts to develop a novel banknote security feature for a prominent central bank. This development contract continues to be a top priority for the company. Getting our KolourOptik technology onto our first banknote will be a major achievement. Once we can successfully get the banknote in circulation, we will have a vital reference customer, which will be instrumental to allow us to fully penetrate this market with our KolourOptik technology. We now have 2 clear paths to make this happen. One is the successful completion of this development contract, and the second is partnering with an OEM to have them sell our KolourOptik product directly to central banks. Last November, we announced a multi-year brand protection contract with the World Baseball Softball Confederation, or the WBSC. The WBSC is recognized as the sole competent authority in the baseball and softball by the International Olympic Committee, with 138 member countries representing over 65 million athletes. Prior to this, the WBSC was experiencing counterfeiting that was not maximizing their monetization of their brand on merchandise being sold at many of the events being held around the world. As a solution, they signed an exclusive 3-year agreement with Nanotech to supply brand protection authentication labels to protect all merchandise manufactured, distributed, or sold under license from the WBSC. They informed us that they chose Nanotech due to the clear, vibrant images that could show off their logo and the confidence that it could not be copied. As a result of this program, the WBSC expects to develop a new licensee revenue stream for their business. So with the foundation laid in 2019, our new product portfolio, and a motivated and experienced sales team, we are well positioned to continue to drive product revenue and customer diversification. Much like last year, we have established our goals for fiscal 2020. The first is to continue to focus on our product revenue growth. We have a solid pipeline and are looking to close on our prospects. Most of these prospects are smaller in nature, but will provide us with additional reference wins we need to go after the larger opportunities. Now that we have established products, we can begin focusing more on partnerships that we can leverage on both the sales front and on the production front or manufacturing side of the business. In the banknote market, we are also looking at expanding our manufacturing capabilities by both producing optical thin film in our Thurso facility and by partnering with Kurtz in the production of our color depth products for this market. In the government and banknote market, we are looking to partner with established OEMs in the industry that can help us sell and market our products to their customers. These OEMs have long-standing central bank relationships and can accelerate our time to having a vital banknote reference win significantly. In the brand protection market, we are looking to leverage sales channels by partnering with American label producers. So far, we have secured multiple third-party manufacturing partners. This means that once we receive an order, we design and originate the label in-house and can deliver orders ranging from 1 million to tens of millions of labels within 6 to 10 weeks for each customer. Finally, we continue to advance our development contract, which I described earlier. I'm pleased to say that the development contract with the central bank is advancing well, and we are both aligned on our goal to have it result in a new security feature for their banknote. One of the key initiatives, which I've highlighted in the previous slide, is to strategically work with partners to leverage their production capabilities, reputation, and sales pipeline. This outsourcing reduces our CapEx and can accelerate our growth across both the banknote and brand protection markets. Internally, we are focusing our efforts on what we do best, which is producing customized designs that include movement, 3D depth, and multiple colors. This is protected by our strong patent portfolio, but also requires tremendous expertise, including our internal software, complicated algorithms, a Class 100 clean room, and millions of dollars of specialized equipment. We safeguard our intellectual property and trade secrets fiercely, but would not outsource this part of our production process. We can deliver the shims, or more simply put, the printing plates, to production partners that have them mass-produced to volume orders. We reported our second quarter our fiscal 2020 results this past May. In Q2, we continue to see growth in product sales from the prior year, while contract services declined slightly from 2019, mostly due to timing issues. We ended the quarter with a strong balance sheet with $9.2 million of cash and no debt, and are well positioned to execute on our growth plan. As you can see, we continue to report a strong gross margin, and although our revenue has been flat, we are planning for solid growth in the second half of the year. During the COVID-19 pandemic, we have been fortunate to be fully operational, with stable contract services revenue for fiscal 2020 and a solid cash position. Our operations are fully up and running, and we have put in place measures to operate in a safe and responsible way for our employees and the public. This has allowed us to continue to execute on our strategy to transition Nanotech from a research and development company to a diversified product-based company. Although we have seen some $2 million in opportunities deferred due to the pandemic, we still anticipate revenue growth this year between 10 and 20% from fiscal 2019. As you can see, we anticipate that revenue will pick up in the second half of the year based on the guidance for revenue we've given so far. At the beginning of this year, we provided guidance for adjusted EBITDA loss of $1 million for the year, based on investments we've planned in order to drive future revenue growth. With the revenue uptick expected to be in the second half of the year, we anticipate that our adjusted EBITDA loss will be significantly better than our original guidance for the year. Looking out to 2021, we anticipate growth to accelerate as opportunities delayed by COVID are realized and additional banknote and brand protection opportunities come to fruition. For many of you, Nanotech is a new story, and like any company, management is key, so we thought it would be beneficial to give you a short overview of our executive team. Monica, our CFO, joined in February 2018, bringing more than 15 years' experience in financial reporting and regulatory compliance in a public company environment. Brian, our Executive Vice President of Sales and Marketing, has over 20 years of experience managing sales and marketing teams for leading technology companies in Vancouver. He built and managed teams at Norset International, Icron Technologies, and Coronex Communications, where each company achieved the #1 market share in their respective industries. Andrew, our new Executive Vice President of Product, is a technology veteran with more than 25 years of senior management experience. Most recently, he held a number of executive positions at Netgear and Sierra Wireless. He has a proven track record of successfully defining and launching new products and novel technologies, and have resulted in significant growth and value creation. As many of you know, I'm Nanotech's former Chief Financial Officer and became CEO just over a year ago. I bring more than 20 years international experience. Before joining Nanotech in 2014, I was the CEO of StormTech Performance Apparel, and prior to that had several executive roles with international technology companies. As we wrap up, I'd like to re-emphasize some of the reasons why we think Nanotech is well positioned for the future. We are targeting unique, multi-billion-dollar markets that have had little innovation and whose current solutions are becoming less effective each day. We have made significant investments in our technology, and we've protected this investment with patents. Our vision is no longer just research and development. We have real customers using our products, and our $30 million development contract and strong balance sheet are key components as to why we'll not just survive the current global economic turmoil, but prosper. In closing, I'd like to thank you for joining Nanotech's presentation on the SNN conference call. We understand that there are other companies that you could have chosen instead, so we appreciate making the time for us. I'd now be pleased to take questions from you. So I understand you can just enter in your questions into the online service. I see I have a couple that have come up earlier. The first question that has come up is, there's a couple of them relating to hearing a lot about digital currencies, and is our market declining for banknotes? And I guess in response to that, we hear that question quite a bit from investors, and the reality is that the banknote market continues to grow around the world. And it's been growing at near double-digit rates in emerging economies and low single-digit rates in developed economies like the United States and Europe. Sophic Capital did a good report recently where they pulled a number of reputable sources that illustrated the paper or plastic currency is really not going away anytime soon. So we're quite confident that the banknote market continues to be one that's in a growth mode, and with 165 billion banknotes produced each year, it's a very sizable market. The second, there's a few questions that seem to relate more to or asking around our development contract, and in particular, providing a little bit more detail, I guess, and future prospects. So maybe what I can say to that is, we originally signed a $30 million research and development contract to develop a new security feature with a top 10 issuing authority or top 10 central bank, and we've been working with this customer for the last number of years. In 2020, we said that the contract would contribute about $5 million of revenue during the year, and we're on track to deliver that. There is still some small opportunity for upside for that, but that's all factored into our guidance for this year on targeting overall revenue growth in the 10 to 20% range. It's difficult for me to get into many details due to the confidentiality with this customer, but what I can say, we are working very closely together to, and we're very much aligned on being successful in developing this unique security feature for them for their future banknotes. And obviously when that happens, we're going to benefit from that. Nanotech will benefit from that for long-term recurring revenue, perhaps 5 to 10 years following the success of that. It's pretty significant for a central bank to make that sort of investment, a $30 million investment. It's not really done in the industry, so we feel quite privileged to have taken that on. And if and when we're successful and get into that banknote, having a very prominent central bank with our security feature on it will really be game-changing, we see, going forward. Checking if Yeah, so a question on our Thurso production facility and our expansion there. So we've recently put out a news release a couple weeks back talking about an investment of upwards of $1.5 million into our Thurso production facility. So the reason we've been doing that, and in fact that investment value sort of represents the work that we've been doing this past year. Some of that we've been very fortunate in that our development contract partners paid for a good portion of that expansion for us. Upwards of $500,000 of that was funded by the government, the central bank, to bring in some additional equipment for that development contract. But in addition to that, one of our key strategies that I talked about is product revenue, and one of the products that we have to say to sell is our optical thin film. So we own our own production facility in Quebec, and that facility is about a 35,000 square foot production facility. We actually own the whole building, which is about 100,000 square feet. And our ability to drive further revenue is tied to our ability being qualified on future banknotes. So a little over a year ago, we really were only producing for one banknote in the world, and so we've spent this past year a significant amount of investment to get qualified on more banknotes. We're now producing optical thin film for more than 3 banknotes, and we've been qualified on another 4 or 5. So when I look at next year's opportunities for us, we hope that our Thurso facility is going to be very busy as we've expanded our capabilities there to allow us to be more flexible with respect to what we can produce there for that market. So when I talk about future revenue growth, a lot of that's going to come from that Thurso production facility. And just flipping through these questions here. So some general questions just to expand around, how our technology is different from traditional security features. And so one of the key aspects of our business or our technologies that's quite different than a traditional hologram or a traditional security feature business on a banknote is that ours is really a technology platform. And we've got the ability to use billions of nanostructures. And to put that into perspective, in a postage stamp size, we would have upwards of 5 billion indentations. And by using those patterning of those security features, we're able to create this effect that's always on, that will switch, that will move, that's vibrant color and can create depth and movement. And by having that platform, we're really able to create very powerful effects, both from that have marketplace in the brand protection space, but are very differentiated in the banknote space. And that core platform allows us to create different applications in the banknote space, whether it's a thread that gets woven into a banknote or whether it's a surface-applied stripe that goes across the face of the banknote. It gives us quite a bit of flexibility. And so our strategy as a new company, just commercializing now, is to really do what we do best, which is differentiate that capability and come up with powerful products and leverage these big OEM partners to produce the product for us and sell it through some of their sales channels. So we're quite excited about how we can differentiate compared to the existing technologies out there, while at the same time leverage these big players to produce the products for us. So I guess I'm just seeing now that I think I've captured most of the questions here. I apologize if I've left one or two there. If I did, please don't hesitate to set up a one-on-one meeting with me, or don't hesitate to send me an email, and I'd be happy to have a phone call with you or reply back. So it looks like we're just out of time now, so maybe I will pass it back to the operator to provide closing comments. Tanya?
Thank you. At this time, the webinar has concluded, and you may disconnect your lines at this time. And thank you for your participation, and have a great day.